Hey guys, it's Alex, back out here in the garage tonight with a couple little things. First of all, I have a little lapidary project that I think will both be hopefully really beautiful, but also practical to some of you who are trying to polish rocks on your own. And second of all, I wanted to try out some new video equipment. I've actually started using a microphone. That's what this little furry thing is here. And see how that kind of works with sound and editing and whatnot. So this is a little bit of a trial run for me, but I think while we're at it, we're gonna try to polish some beautiful petrified wood from the Yellowstone River. And what I'm hoping to do is, I've been having a little bit of trouble over the last few months with my high-tech diamond slant cabber. And it's a great machine for polishing, and I've actually had quite a bit of success with it. But for some reason, the last few months, I just haven't quite been able to get a good polish. And I think there's a couple things that are contributing to that. First of all, I think I tend to have polished too many rocks all at once. So I really just want to focus on one piece and kind of working my way through the different grits until we get that perfect mirror finish. So I'm hoping that I can find a way to do that to show you guys, because I have heard from some of you that you're having similar problems. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick look at this piece of petrified wood. Then we are gonna cut it using our smaller trim saw, and then we're gonna start polishing and see what we can end up with. All right, I just wanted to kind of show you our specimen here. Again, this is a pretty standard piece of Yellowstone River petrified wood, but it has a really nice little agate band running through here, which kind of shows up on this face. I don't know if you can really see it. You can kind of see it, and you'll definitely be able to see it when we cut it. And then what I'm thinking we're going to do is we're essentially just going to polish this face flat and put hopefully a really nice finish on it. So we're going to go ahead and get this saw ready to go, and then let's cut this rock. All right, and so there you can see what we end up with. Pretty decent little cut, especially for a trim saw. Now, because we have some of these little blade marks on it, we're gonna move it over to the slant cabber, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off on a 180 grit. We're gonna get everything nice and smooth, and then we're gonna kind of work our way up from there. Okay, so next up we are moving on to the polishing phase of this project, and I just wanted to give you a quick little rundown of the machine I'm using here. This is a high-tech diamond slant cabber. The basic concept here is that you have these polishing laps, is what they're called. They're plastic backing with, in this case, this is a diamond plate with the diamonds are kind of embedded on a metal surface, but there's also what are called resin diamond pads that are softer. They still have the same diamond grit embedded in them, but these tend to last a lot longer and be more durable. So typically what you want to do is you want to start off at a higher grit to kind of grind the rougher edges of your specimen down, and then you work your way up to smaller grits over time, and the numbers are of course getting bigger. So 180 means larger grit, 3000 would be smaller grit and much more of a polish. Historically, what I've had trouble with is it seems like my specimens, when I get towards the end of the polish phase, up into the higher grits, they still have scratches on the face. And this is something that I've heard from a number of different people using these high-tech diamond laps. I've seen some evidence online that some of the laps can have contamination, where embedded in with the diamonds are actually diamonds that are too large for that grit, and of course that can cause scratches. I don't think that's a common problem with these laps, but it is something that I've seen. So I've wondered if that's part of my problem. But we're going to kind of work our way up. I'm going to walk you through it as we go. And the whole goal here is to end up with a near perfect specimen at the end. So let's get to it. Again, we're going to start off here at the 180 grit. I'm going to try to kind of pause in between each phase to give you an idea of what the specimen looks like, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so we are done with the 180 grit, and I just kind of wanted to give you a little update here of what this looks like. You can see I got rid of all of the grooves and little ridges from the saw, and it is perfectly flat, except for this little teeny tiny kind of imperfection there in the middle. I'm just not going to take the time to get that out. Sometimes I think it kind of adds to a cool look. But when you're looking here, I think the main thing is, I'm not seeing anything left over from the saw. I'm not seeing anything on the edges of the specimen that would be something that would show up later. There is a temptation when you're working with like the 180 grit or whatever your grinding grit is to sort of kind of like dome the edges almost, because you can work it down a little bit faster, and that's certainly not a bad thing to do. The only problem with that is you end up making a little bit more work for yourself because you can't just polish the one face. You have to sort of work around and get everything. So you're just making a little bit more work for yourself. I did that a little bit in one area where there was a little bit of kind of ridging and residue from the saw. But for the most part, this is fairly flat. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to use the resin plates here on forward. The reason for that is one of my suspicions, and I'm basing this off of a video from currently Rockhounding on YouTube. One of my suspicions for where these scratches are coming from is that I have another metal diamond plate. I believe it is a 280 grit. Oh, here, let's take a look. Oh, I'm sorry, this 360 plate. And I have a worry that this, you can see that right there in the middle of the screen. There's a little bit of a bigger, there, you can see it right there. There's a bigger sort of imperfection on that plate, and I'm wondering if that's a bigger diamond that is causing me to get scratches in my specimens. So my plan is to completely skip this plate, and we're going to start with using the purple resin plate. Now this is not one that comes with the base set. Normally in the base set you get a brown, which is a 325, you get a red, which is a 600, you get a blue that is a 1200, and then you get your polishing pad. I went ahead and got this extra one because I was having this problem. So the purple is a 220. That should do a better job of getting some of the scratches out from the 180, and then we'll work our way up from there. So let's see how this goes, and I'll show you kind of what we have once we're done with this plate. Okay, that went pretty smoothly, no pun intended there. Here is our result after finishing the purple 220 pad. So what you can see hopefully on camera is a nice sort of consistent pattern on the face. All of the, kind of quote unquote scratches are roughly the same size. They're all kind of going the same direction. I don't really see anything that stands out as an obvious imperfection. And all you people that are probably more experienced than me are like, well, look at that one right there that he's not even seeing. Well, I guess I'll have to learn later on. I think it's really important when you're doing work like this to make sure before you go to the next stage that you examine your piece under a light, kind of from a few different angles, so that you can really see, does this look the way that I want it to look? Because if it doesn't, you got to go back and you got to get it to where you want it before you go to the next stage. So I think for us, this looks good enough to go to the brown pad, which again is the standard 325 that comes with your machine if you order it. I think the goal, especially if you read the manual, is to have pretty much any sort of visible scratch out of the specimen when you finish the 325. So that's going to be our goal. And then after that, again, we're going to move on to the red and then the blue. Red again is 600, blue is 1200, and then we'll put a polish on it after that. And you can probably see here, as I'm working this piece, I'm trying to rotate it on different angles. I'm trying to kind of here and there take pressure off and move it around the edges a little bit to make sure the edges are getting exposure to that grit and not just the middle of the rock. And then the other thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that I'm not just focusing on one part of the pad, trying to get to the outside as well as into the middle and onto the inside. The main reason to do that is just to make sure that your pad has a longer life. So trying to do all of those things here while we polish. The last two, I think I ended up spending maybe 5 minutes per pad roughly. So we're gonna aim for about the same here, and then I'll show you what we got when we're done. Okay, so let's take a look at this piece here now that we've finished at the, sorry, brain fart, 325. So I spent a little bit longer on the 325. The reason for that is I really couldn't tell if, what you can see here under the reflection, if those are actual scratches or if that's just kind of basically a result of the grit that that you're using, because of course 325 is still relatively large in the grand spectrum. So after kind of playing with it and drying it off and looking a number of different times, I came to the conclusion that at least as far as I can tell, that's more just the grit that I was seeing there. I don't actually see any bigger scratches that wouldn't fit that size, if that makes sense. Although I'm really curious kind of what happens now, because I think historically this is the point that I've gotten to, and then I have trouble once I move on to the 600 and the 1200 and the polish, and then I finish up and I look at the piece under the light and there's all these little scratches. It's not a mere polish. So excuse me, getting over a cold. Hopefully here, once we put our time in working through these next steps, we will see things kind of working out the way that we want. If they don't, and if these are the scratches that kind of stick around, my guess is that my problem is somewhere between the 220 pad and the 325 pad. I'm getting scratches on there that I'm just not getting them off. So whether that means I need to be spending more time on the 325 or more time on the 220, that's something that I'll probably just have to kind of play around with. So anyways, that's where we're at. Let's move on to the 600. Ideally, neither of these, the 600 or the 1200, really should take that long. So I'm going to try to put a good polish on there, and then we'll see what we show up with. I almost started polishing at the next grit without showing you the update. So here is where we are at after the 600. You can see that we're definitely beginning to get that mirror shine, which is awesome. That's definitely something we're looking for. I spent a lot of time on this grit trying to make sure that I had everything squared away. And I don't know how that's going to work out. I do feel like when I look at it, and again, I'm not sure how much this is going to show up on camera. When I look at it, I still feel like I see, what I would call little tiny scratches. But again, that may be something that we don't see when we're all the way done. So what I'm not seeing that I'm thankful for is any larger scratches that stand out as obviously not right. So let's see how it goes here. Oh, look at that. That's kind of a cool pattern with the 1200 grit. We'll put a polish on it, and then I'll kind of show you how it turned out. All right, what is the update after finishing the blue 1200 grit disc? Well, here's what we got. And honestly, and again, I think this is one of the challenges of trying to demonstrate this on a camera. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it, especially I did exactly what I said I shouldn't do, and I put a little bit of a dome on one side accidentally to get rid of some of the saw grooves. And so I think it's this corner over here where you can see that I just didn't quite get it tight. You can see it's just this corner over here where I just quite didn't get it completely cleaned up. But I'd say overall, it looks really great. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. So we're going to put a little polish on it here. This is the polishing pad. It's charged with diamond paste. I don't recall the grit, very high grit to put a nice little shine on this. And then I'll kind of show you what it's going to look like when it's done. And we'll go over a couple little fine points, but I think I have identified the problem because I'm not seeing any of those big scratches that I was getting in my pieces before. So that feels very reassuring to me. Okay, so we are done, and I wanted to kind of show you the final product. And I am very pleased with how this turned out. What I don't know, and what's very difficult to say just on the camera, is what is this going to look like later for you guys on YouTube. But you can see I got a nice mirror finish on here. And the other big thing, and you're going to have to take my word for this, is that I'm not seeing any big scratches. I really am not seeing pretty much any. There are a couple little teeny tiny superficial cracks on the surface of this piece, but that's really it. So I would say I'm very stoked about how this turned out. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I hope that you found this as informative and useful as I did. Let me know what you think about the audio. Hopefully it's an improvement. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Also, consider liking the video. That really helps me out on the algorithm. You know, if you're interested in some of this equipment, I've got my links to the high-tech diamond stuff, as well as an affiliate code in the description of the video, as well as information for Highland Park Lapidary, where I have my saws from. And again, the big takeaway from me on this video was, you know, if you're going to be using the slant cabber and you're using some of the metal diamond plates, you got to really figure out, are you getting contamination on one of those plates? In my case, I think it is the this 360 grit plate that is causing, it must have a bigger piece of diamond in it that is causing scratches, and then those aren't getting brought out by, you know, the 220 or the 360 grit resin pads, and so those scratches stay in the specimen all the way into the finish, and then of course you're not happy at the end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach out to high-tech diamond. Typically they're very good about customer service and returns. I feel pretty confident that they will replace this for me so that I can use it if I need to, but what I feel good about is that between now and then, clearly I can get a good polish out of the stuff that I have. You know, if you have questions or if you're having trouble, please leave a comment down below. I'll try to kind of scan those and see if I can help you out. You know, if there's specific things that people are wondering about, I can try to make a follow-up video or maybe do a little question and answer. And as for the piece, this guy, I'm going to be including this as a part of a 35,000 subscriber giveaway. We're almost there as a channel. It's really been crazy to see the channel growing over time, so thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss that, and there's going to be an announcement coming about that as soon as we hit that 35,000 subscriber mark. So thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the video, and take care until next time.